Hello, everyone. Yes, just got off the air. So thank you so very much for coming in and hanging out with us for the podcast this afternoon. Welcome back to another edition of Faithfully Speaking, where we talk about topics of conversation, interest, concerns, issues, questions, praise reports, you name it. We share them in a good, positive, honest, and loving way. So, look, we're going to just go straight into it. Of course, we all know that on June 29th, 2023, the Supreme Court ruled that affirmative action is now unlawful in college admissions. Wow. Now, of course, we know this is an action of policies that were aimed to increase representation of women and people of color. So now that it's unlawful, what does it mean for everyone? Students, public colleges, HBCUs, businesses. Well, hanging out with me right now, and he is a busy man. You hear him on Real Talk on our Sunday show from 5 until 7. He is known as the People's Lawyer, my brother, Warren Ballentine. Warren, how you doing?
Melissa, always good to be with you. Always.
Always,
You
man.
got all fancy. Your show got a. Yeah, I'm looking at your show like, man, I need to step my game up. I got to get on some of this stuff.
Don't even try it. You know you are the man. Whenever I need knowledge and wisdom, especially when it comes to politics, you are the one I go to, and you're always there for me. So thank you so very much for being on with us. I know you have a busy schedule, so let's jump into it. You always give us the truth about what's going on, and that's what I love about you, Warren. So let's talk about affirmative action. Who does it affect the most? And what does them ruling it unconstitutional or unlawful, what does it mean?
Well, I want to start off by giving the real meaning of affirmative action, because you have so many people think, well, because of affirmative action, people were getting opportunities, right? They were getting opportunities to go to school. There were opportunities to get these jobs in the workplace. Well, when it comes to the educational and the workplace, the first thing you must do before affirmative action is even thought about is you got to be qualified.
Right.
You have to qualify. You can't just say, I want to go to UNC because I'm Black and affirmative action. You had to qualify to get into school. And what they would do after you qualified is look at all these different factors that make up a certain amount of points to get you into the school. Now, if you happen to be Black or a woman, or even just a minority like Latino, Asian, Native American, you literally get that one extra point. So if you're tied with somebody else and you get that one extra point, it would be the reason why you got in over that person. Now, that's still the case right now with legacy, with schools right now. If your grandparents went to the school, your parents went to the school, and all things are equal, because you are the third generation or the second generation, they will give you that one extra point to let you get in. Now, when you ask the question, who does this affect most? Well, it really affects two divisions of people the most. The first is white women. White women were the number one beneficiary of affirmative action. And the reason why was because they could literally not get into the corporate veil of America as white women. The highest position that they could hold, no matter how much education, no matter how long they have been working, was maybe a vice presidency seat. But usually if it was a woman in that position who was white, she was the only woman in there. Mm-hmm. Not to mention, we weren't there, Latinos wasn't there, Asians wasn't there. And so they benefited the most because they got opportunities that they didn't have at first. Just some history. People think we've been this progressive country for so many years, but up until like 1970, it was a federal law that if you were married or you were a woman under 30, you had to get permission from your husband or your father to do things. So to buy things, to own things. So women benefited a whole lot. The second group of people, and see, people think it's Black people who benefited the most. It really wasn't Black people. It was every other nationality. Now, let me explain to you why. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment are known in when you go into law school, they teach you these are the Black amendments, right? Mm-hmm. These amendments were put into place simply to help Black people be able to vote, to be able to have protections under the law, to make sure they're never slaves again. And all that was done with nobody else in mind, not even the Native Americans, just Black people. Well, when affirmative action took place, everybody qualified for it, whether they were a woman or a Native American or an Asian or anything, you qualified for affirmative action. Even to this day, uh, one of the things that I tell people when I do public speaking is you don't want to be called a minority. And the reason why you don't want to be called a minority is because a white kid at an HBCU is a minority.
Yeah.
So if it's a minority scholarship, then that white kid qualifies because he or she is the minority. Now, what's sad about this is that you have Asian Americans who brought this suit.
Mm-hmm.
You have undereducated white people who think, well, I'm gonna get jobs now because affirmative action is gone. And the truth of the matter is that the people that's gonna be hurt worse, more so than anybody, are those people. And it's gonna be a big adjustment for them. And it's gonna be a big adjustment for them because they're not used to being where we're at. I mean, it's like the old saying, you can take two people, one black and one white. The white person loses everything, they want to jump off a building. The black person loses everything, they're going to pray to God and ask God to help them build it back up and tell them, Lord, I'm sorry because I didn't keep your word, and that's why this was taken away from me. So it's a different thought process in how we deal with it because we've been dealing with it since we've been here like that, through prayer, through love, through understanding. Even with the LGBTQ decision that came out, one of the things I tell people all the time, I don't agree with the lifestyle. I'm not God. I'm not going to judge nobody. I just try to show them how I think God would want us to be based on what I learned in the word. But I don't judge them. But I tell people, don't be happy about this because we're all intertwined. We don't even realize that what happened to them is actually going to affect us. Mm-hmm. You know, it's even going to affect the Christians who are out here. And so it's all intertwined. And sometimes we get so caught up in, well, this is my belief. And because this is my belief, if they're doing something I believe in, it's okay. But the reality of it is that your belief may be good for you, but it may not be good for the whole. And it may be good for you because you've gotten to a position in life where you've had an opportunity in life. Well, everybody doesn't have that chance. Everybody doesn't have that opportunity. One of the biggest things that's taken away for Black kids with colleges, honestly, is what I like to call the Willie Geary rule. Willie Geary didn't qualify for college, but Willie Geary got into Shaw University. Mm-hmm. They took a chance on him. He graduated, became a big-time attorney, and has donated millions of dollars to Shaw University to educate the next group of young people coming through. And that's the part that's going to hurt us because so many of our children are in college for 5 years, not because they took a year off, but because that first year sometimes they're there catching up because they come from an area or a community where the school didn't have the proper tools to get them where they needed to go. And they come from households that their parents didn't go to college. Their parents didn't know anything about certain things. And
transition. So yeah,
all that ties in together and we have to look at it like that.
Absolutely. So of course you've talked about what this means, affirmative action, no longer being lawful, what it means for, the Caucasian, the women, those minorities. But what does it mean for the student of color and the colleges? I mean, can college diversity survive since the end of affirmative action?
Well, I do think it's going to survive. And the reason I think it's going to survive is because we have more people who look like us in these positions of authority. The problem is going to be this, when I played football, we ran a play called a 52 fake out. And what's happening right now with affirmative action in these educational institutions is a 52 fake out. You see, they're giving free education if your parents make less than $80,000 a year, right? And this is our way around affirmative action. The problem is this, like I said, those kids who maybe didn't qualify could get in and get that extra year to catch up. Now they won't have that opportunity because in order to get that $80,000, it's not just your parents not making no money. You got to qualify for the school on every checkbox. Where right before the affirmative action ruling came out, you may have checked 7 of the 10 boxes. But then with that affirmative action, it goes up to 8. So if you're up to 8, you're in the 80 percentile. That may be just enough to get you into school. Where if you take that away, you're in the 70th percentile, and that'll be that 1 point making a difference where you can't get into the school because you got 7 out of 10 instead of 8 out of 10. And so that's where it really affects us at, because so many of our children are being, quite frankly, our children are being educated to pass a test and not being taught to be logical in their thought process, or reasonable in their thought process, or analytical in their thought process. They're being taught to pass a test, but that's because the teachers are overworked, the principals are overworked, and nobody's valuing the educational system like it once did after civil rights. Because at that point, for 2-3 generations, parents was like, you got to go to college, even if they didn't go to college. I mean, even if they only saw a different world and was just like, you got to go to college because he's seeing these kids on a different world go to college. And now it's kind of like, well, if we don't have the money, you just can't go. And they know that, and that's going to be the problem for us, because it's going to stop us from getting educated the way we need to be educated in order to change what we need to change in this country.
Do you see this as strengthening maybe some of our HBCUs?
Well, the hope is, I mean, to be honest with you, the hope is that the parents will now look at the HBCUs. They will send their young athletes to the HBCUs, because if you're a good player and you go to Central or A&T or St. Aug's or Shaw, you still gonna make it to the league if you're a good player. As far as the educational system, especially in North Carolina, when you look at Central and Fayetteville State and North Carolina A&T, they have the same curriculum as UNC and as State. They're actually all under the same umbrella, except it's way cheaper to go to A&T and cheaper to go to Central. And they have some of the best programs in North Carolina, whether you're talking about A&T's engineering program or you're talking about Central's law school. I mean, it's so many good programs at these schools where people are going to be there to help you make it. They're going to help you succeed. You're not just a number to them. I tell people, I've had 3 different educational experiences. Growing up in Chicago, everybody in my community was Black or Latino. So everybody in my school was Black or Latino. There was no white kids in our school at all. We didn't even have white teachers. We didn't have a white teacher, a white administrator, nobody. Everybody was Black or Latino. And so I said, man, I had an HBCU experience before I even left. Then I went to University of Iowa. Well, I got a little bit of a better treatment because I was playing football. But at the same time, when you go into those classrooms, it may be 1,500 kids in that classroom. You just a number. You are literally just a number. That's what you are. Then you go to an HBCU and you realize, wait a minute, wait a minute, this is where I should have been all along, because I'm not just a number. My professors know me. My directors of my department know me. My counselors know me. And they're all pushing me to excel and try to get out of here and do better for myself. And so that makes a world of difference for a young person to believe that they can go be a lawyer, go be a doctor, go be an engineer, go be a principal, major in communications and be on television doing weather, or be a Melissa Wade on the radio for all these years, inspiring people. So, I mean, it's so many things that you can get out of it, but it starts at home. But we got to remember all the time that everybody doesn't have the same home, just like everybody doesn't have the same church. Some churches, they behind their young folks, they helping them every way they can. Other churches, they're not doing that. So You got to understand each church is going to be different. Each home is going to be different. We just got to find the middle ground to help everybody that's coming either way.
Warren, what would you say to the parents that are looking right now, even the kids that may be headed to college, in high school, saying, what does this mean for me? How do you, or what would you say to get them prepared to maybe look into where, like you said, there's certain, goals that we probably need to hit in order for our kids to, if they still want to go to these colleges, or even to find the better education and to know that they are being fulfilled in the right way?
It's a couple of things that I think a parent can do, right? Even if you didn't go to school, as you didn't go to college, you didn't participate, find somebody you do know who did do that, whether they went to A&T or they went to Central or they went to Morehouse or whatever, and really try to have your kid participate in their homecoming events. Let them come and see how it's a big family gathering at Central. I mean, if you walk in on Central's ground doing homecoming, it doesn't matter where you from, when you graduated, what Greek organization you were in, everybody family for that day. If you at A&T, it's the same way. If you at Shaw, if you at St. Aug's, because if a kid grows up seeing that, then it's not unusual. It's not something that it becomes normalized to them. Like, oh yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to have these experiences. The second thing that I would tell the young people is this: look for scholarship money everywhere. In fact, this year for 2024, it's too late now to apply, but UNCF and Fidelity had a huge scholarship for people in the Triangle. If you lived in Raleigh or Durham or in Chapel Hill, and you were a minority and you were a senior in high school getting ready to go to college, if you had a 2.5 to 3.5 GPA and you got into a college that was in North Carolina and you qualified, they were given 4-year full scholarships. So a kid who would get something like that, everything would be paid for all 4 years. All they got to do is go up there and do their work, and they'll come out debt free with a degree. Now, for everybody who doesn't know about college, if you can walk out of school debt free, that's when you ahead of the game. You can walk out of there debt free, because most people ain't walking out of there debt free.
Not at all. Years of payments.
So, well, yeah. I tell people this all the time. I got a undergrad degree, I got a bachelor's degree, I had a master's degree. I didn't pay for neither one of them.
Wow.
Had to pay for law school. Law school was 3 years. I came out with over $100,000 worth of student loan debt. And I said, that's over a 3-year period. I said, unlike if you were paying for undergrad, graduate school, if I was paying for all three of them, I'd have had like $300,000 in student loan debt to get all three of the degrees.
Yeah.
So.
And then another topic we can talk about, that student loan relief that our president was trying to pass and it got shot down too, but that's another topic on another day.
Well, we got to give Biden a little bit of credit. I tell people this all the time. Historically speaking, when time goes by and people look back, Biden is going to be one of the most historical presidents we've ever had in America for Black people. Yeah. He made Juneteenth a holiday, which means that issue of slavery will be here forever. They can never, no matter how much they try to get rid of it with critical race theory and all this, because it's a federal holiday, it'll be here forever. The fact that he tried to eliminate the student loans, that'll be here forever. The fact that he appointed Ketanji on the Supreme Court, that'll be here, forever. The fact that he made Kamala, the vice president, and the fact that he was vice president for the first Black president. So, I mean, he's literally, historically speaking, he's been one of the best presidents for Black people speaking, even better than Kennedy and even better than President Obama, to be honest with you. And Obama, my guy.
Yeah, he is our guy, absolutely. but you're absolutely right on that. And I know you have to hurry up and get out of here, but we definitely want to thank you so very much. I'm going to say this as we close out, where we might feel that one door closes, God always opens another. And through what you shared with us today, Warren, you have given us that knowledge that yes, that door might not be the door that you thought it was going to be, but there's another door. There are several doors that are open for you, especially even though, this whole affirmative action has been ruled unlawful or to unlawful. Know that those other doors are there and they're open for our kids.
Two quick other things. If you have a kid that's going into high school, try to get them in an early college program. If they're in the early college program, like they have at Central and some other places, when they graduate from high school, they'll have 2 years of college already done, because all they will do the electives their last 2 years in high school. That means they only got to pay for 2 years of college. If you don't have the money for them to pay for college, go to a tech school or a junior college those first 2 years. You come out, you only have to pay for 2 years of college. Student loan debt is the number one, really, for almost 90%, not just Black people, but for almost 90% of this country. Student loan debt is one of the biggest debts outside of our mortgages that we have, that is part of our everyday bills and lives and everything else. Correct. But if you do it the right way, you can come out with minimum debt, and then at that way you can start really doing something and learn how to invest. Start investing as early as possible, even if it's just $20, a month. If you do that over a period of time, it could be up to $5,000 or $10,000 that you got that can help get somebody through school or get somebody to the end of graduating. So we just got to be more tactical in our thinking. And really, I'm going to say this, we need to be having these conversations in the churches. We should be learning the word of God, but we should also have at least one day where, we're coming together and somebody's coming there teaching us something or giving us inspiration about something to make our lives better in the long run. I think if we did that and took the church outside those four walls and put it to the street, I think that would change a whole lot that's going on too. We didn't remove God from so many things, from everything, and then we're wondering why we're in all this stuff that we're in right now. I tell people all the time, even if you don't believe in God, when you had that healthy fear of God as a young person growing up, it made all the world of difference when you was about to do something. And it's all right to have a healthy fear. I said, my kids live in a healthy fear. They better live in a healthy fear.
Mine too. Absolutely. Warren, again, thank you so very much. Before you leave here, of course, we watch you and listen to you actually every Sunday, Real Talk here on The Light from 5 until 7. But let everybody know how they can follow you on social media.
I'm on Truth Fighter. Lord, I'm on Truth Fighter. I'm on Instagram under Truth Fighter or Truth Fighter 1. Same thing with Twitter, Truth Fighter 1 or Laverdad. And then just Warren Ballentine on Facebook. It's a whole bunch of Facebook pages that people run. I only have one that I do anything on. All the rest of them, either somebody who work at one of the stations I'm on across the country is running it, or it's just, so I always tell people, just try to find the one that I'm on. And honestly, it's the one that I have a picture of myself with 109 years saying Phi Beta Sigma on it, representing my fraternity. That's my personal one.
All right. Well, Warren, again, thank you so very much for taking a little time out of your busy schedule just to kind of, as I say, faithfully speak on this topic, because that's what it's all about, is having the faith that no matter what may come up against us, God's always has our back in it. So thank you so very much, my brother.
Thank you. And I'm here anytime to serve. Anytime to serve.
Absolutely, you are. Thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you once again for joining us for this podcast, Faithfully Speaking. God bless you. Hopefully you've heard something. Take it with you. Share it with you. Tell your friends. Tell your family. God bless you. Until next Monday at 3 o'clock. We'll see you then. Grace.